Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our weekly live question and answer series where I sit with Dr. Ellithorpe and we look to questions from you. Ask us anything regarding health, wellness, prevention, disease, and we're happy to address those. And you can interact with us in a couple of different ways. The first and the best way is to use the chat feature of YouTube. You'll need to be logged into YouTube to do that, but off here to the side of your video, you can post your questions there, and I do see questions already coming in. That way we can answer questions live as we intend to with this video. However, if you're having any trouble sending us questions, or you can't use the chat or can't log into YouTube, you can email us your questions as well. I have a couple that were emailed into us this week, and that email address is office@tlcdoctors.com, and just put in the subject line question, Q&A for YouTube, something along those lines, and those will be forwarded to us so that we can ask them. But I want to thank you for joining us today and just let you know that this series is for information. Today's video is to educate and address concerns, but not to be used as medical advice. We want to make sure that you maintain a relationship with your healthcare provider, that you're following up with them with your specific concerns and questions, that you're under the care of a doctor. So just a disclaimer, this is not meant to be your specific medical advice. Dr. Ellithorpe, thanks for joining us today.
Always a pleasure. And Monday, I finished the emailed in questions that we weren't able to get to last week. So I added them in on Monday evening, which was the 27th, I think.
Great. So if you didn't get a chance to already, go back and look at Monday's video if you had sent in a question via email, and Dr. Ellithorpe has asked it there. So we're doing this twice a week in case you didn't know. Mondays at 6 o'clock Pacific time. That is a longer format typically, and Dr. Ellithorpe is on her own looking for in the chat section for questions, and then every Wednesday morning here at 9:45 a.m. Pacific as well.
Right.
All right, shall we jump in?
Mm-hmm.
Great. We'll start with some questions in the chat. So it looks like Estrella was the first, and she says, she is 160 pounds. How much and how often would she take ivermectin if possible? So maybe she'd posted something before. It looks like this is a continuation, but I only see that first question here. So 160 pound woman, how often would she take ivermectin if possible?
Preventively, that would be 5 tablets twice a week.
How many milligrams?
Well, each tablet is 3 milligrams,
Okay.
so that's 15 milligrams.
15 milligrams twice a week on a preventive protocol.
Mm-hmm. And then if you look at, and I talked about this also on Monday, this is the FLCCC Alliance, which is called the Frontline COVID-19 Critical Care Alliance. And this is their website, FLCCC.net, 3 of the C's, FLCCC.net. And you can see their references there, and then you'll see that there's a weight area and the dosing for preventative, and then for early outpatient treatment and so forth.
So early outpatient treatment is, of course, if you've been diagnosed or you're under a viral infection. So you can share this with your physician. It's FLCCC .net?
Net.
.net.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they also have great information there about some supplementation protocols that you can take as well too, for prevention as well as acute.
I brought up last Monday my Immune Protect.
Yes. This guy right here.
Yeah, and that has really turned out very well because I have the vitamin C, the zinc. The zinc is 25 milligrams. Selenium is in it, and the arabinogalactin and maitake mushrooms, cordyceps. These are special things to stimulate your NK cells, your T cells. And then N-acetylcysteine's in it, 600 milligrams, quercetin, 250 milligrams. So we didn't put the vitamin D in this.
That's because most of our patients are on it already.
Yes.
Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so you can titrate that up or down separately.
Right. So that's Immune Protect, and I think that's a very good item.
Yeah, it is. And we seem to get this question every week is, what can I take, especially right now with this fear of COVID out there to strengthen my immune system?
Yeah, the fall is coming, the flu season.
Of course.
And so I think that's a very good, now that we put it all into one item.
Yep. And a serving size of this is 5 capsules. Would you consider that a preventive daily maintenance? Or would you, okay.
Yeah.
And if you were feeling sick, could you up the dose on this?
Surely. You could double the dose if you needed to.
Great. So that is Immune Protects. Okay. Jennifer has a question for us, and Jennifer says, "Hi, Dr. Rita. Forgot to ask earlier, is a Beamer mat safe for elderly on blood thinners?"
Most definitely, yes. The Beamer mat is quite safe. It is just a electromagnetic research frequency. That's the little copper coils are in the mat. You lay on it or sit on it in a recliner. And this will synchronize with the endothelial lining of your vasculature, especially in your capillary beds. There is no risk for bleeding or anything like that. So yes, I would definitely use it. I have one, so I would certainly recommend it.
Okay. Linda says, "Can rheumatoid arthritis be reversed? If so, what steps would you recommend?"
Well, it isn't taught that it is reversible, but what we've seen here is people with rheumatoid arthritis come to us. We look at their food allergies. We put them on a gut repair, a whole lifestyle protocol. That's involving the single cell lining of your gut, which is that phospholipid double layer, that picture that we have. We always talk about, how the cell is injured here. This is only one membrane thick. So they have to follow a dietary lifestyle, and we give them NT powder, we give them immunoglobulins for the gut, because this is usually from a leaky gut, injured, aging gut, from food sensitivities. And we put them on a limited rotation diet. We ask them to only eat between noon and 6 o'clock. And then their stomach is empty 18 hours so that it has greater time to heal. Then we put them on adequate water. Then we look for if they could be on natural hormones if possible, and systemic enzymes for pain and inflammation. And over the course of about 6 to 9 months, we find that whether it's rheumatoid arthritis or polyarthritis, myalgia, migraines, rotating arthropathies, that these all improve. And then if they eat healthy, then they really never have the problem come back.
Right. Okay.
We've had several patients able to come off of their prescription medicines. Now,
my wife's one of them. She was diagnosed with RA many, many years ago, and through a course of lab work and avoiding certain foods, eating right, taking some anti-inflammatory supplements, drinking enough water, balancing her hormones, thyroid medication, she's been off of that RA medicine for years.
Yeah, it's really
and whatever was the root cause of being expressed as that rheumatoid arthritis in her, what was causing the achiness and pain in her extremities, she doesn't have that pain at all anymore, but her energy and other things, she can kind of see based on her health and how well she's following her protocol if it's starting to creep back into that.
Right. I have several patients. I'm thinking of one right now who, when he has the holiday season come, and I'm telling you what happens is the holidays come and then people eat bad, and in January and February and March, I am just struggling to repair everyone, so please try and only eat on Christmas Day and Thanksgiving dinner and so forth, as opposed to dribbling and eating at every location and every relative's house.
Right. It starts in around Thanksgiving every year, where we have not just our family's Thanksgiving, but maybe we're going to the in-laws' Thanksgiving, and then a friendsgiving, and then before we know it, the holidays are here, and that whole period of time we just see our patients gaining weight, and then eating inflammatory foods or things that don't agree with their body, and we're very busy in January and February.
Yeah, and I don't want that to ever happen to me. So remember, August is our hard month as a family, because it's Dad's birthday, your birthday, my birthday, our anniversary, and then Labor Day is the first Monday of September. So within about a 4-week period, we have many opportunities to abuse ourselves. And that's why I do my 5-day water fast, Labor Day to the following Saturday. And I do a 5-day fast January 1st to January 6th, you know.
Right.
So that way, if I am going to have things that I know that don't set well with me, and I will on Christmas Day, and I will probably have a Thanksgiving dinner and visit at your house and eat there as well. So there's too many opportunities to injure myself, so I will do that fast. But thank God I'm only trying to limit it to those days, and the fast really will heal me.
Okay, Trevor says, just a supportive reminder to everyone, the more likes on each video, the more this information will be shown on YouTube. I'm a big believer in getting the word out, so press that thumbs up. Thank you, Trevor. Appreciate that. If you haven't already, and if you're finding this content valuable, if you're coming back week after week and watching, you can help us out. It doesn't cost you anything but a click. Hit that thumbs up button. You can also subscribe to the channel, which will help as well get this message out to more people, as well as notify you if and when we post more content.
Right. And in the fall season, the holiday season, when the flu tends to come, we're indoors more, it gets more dry, and so our particulate aerosols will float longer and be in suspension longer. In the summers, spring and fall, there's more moisture, and so then it falls out. So you might want to take a wet towel and wet it every night so that your bedroom has moisture in it. So
use a humidifier.
Or a humidifier. You know, I use a wet towel. And then the other thing is, if you're eating a lot of sugars in the fall season from all these holidays and the foolishness of Halloween, then you're going to suppress your immune system. So you see how this is a setup, along with the low angle of the sun and the low vitamin D, why we see these seasonal flus and viruses emerge. So just don't play into that game. Take your D, get some humidity in your house so particulates will fall out and not be aerosolized so easily, and be very cautious about allowing yourself to eat all those sugars.
Okay, good reminders. Jennifer notes, I recommended Juice Plus to someone about to have radiation. She's worried that the antioxidants in Juice Plus will protect the cancer cells along with healthy cells. What is the truth? This common question comes up all the time. Should I take not just Juice Plus, but any kind of antioxidant? My oncologist is warning me that's counterproductive to the oxidative therapy of oncology, radiation, etc.
Yeah, the truth is Juice Plus is a food. And so if you're going to worry about eating food or anything, good food, then you'd have to be afraid to eat it all, you know. Right. So you have to be reasonable. Juice Plus is a food concentrate of the fruit, berries, and vegetables. That's very reasonable. If during radiation you are taking, you know, extra vitamin C even throughout that on the very day of the radiation, that probably isn't something that you would do after your radiation treatment, because the impact of that radiation on the tumor cells is basically in the window of time of delivery. It isn't like you have hours and days of impact from it.
Same thing with chemotherapy.
Same with chemotherapy. The day that it is delivered is the day that you want to do that. So I wouldn't say taking extra on that day, but certainly the day before and the day after. Even doing high-dose vitamin C, they have a misunderstanding when we give high-dose vitamin C. That's a pro-oxidant. Right. But if you take oral vitamin C, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, that is antioxidant. Mm-hmm. So I'm not telling people to do that, but they're not going to have that impact from eating their food, and Juice Plus is a food, so definitely I would use it.
Yep. And having antioxidants in our body and our body's ability to deal with oxidative stress is necessary for life. So it's not like we just flip a switch and switch over to an oxidative state
yeah,
perpetually while you're doing chemotherapy or radiation. No, we're doing really using something that would kill us for a very short amount of time at a controlled dosage to target those cancer tumor cells. And then our body has to go back to healing after that damage is done. So we wouldn't necessarily stop Juice Plus or vitamin C, but on the day of the treatment, maybe not that day, but follow up on the following day.
And the other thing is, I have been involved in this kind of therapy for decades.
Yes.
We're talking 40 years of this, and even when I was younger and my father was involved in food research. And if you're saying, I have a huge amount of cancer patients that come for our nutritional and immune-enhancing advice. All of them are doing well. All of them over the decades have used Juice Plus, have used the vitamin C, the chelating, IV chelation. So I have the clinical experience along with all the other colleagues I have who use vitamin C, chelation, Juice Plus, and supplementation, and our patients do superiorly. So you can't argue with years, decades and decades of experience and many, many physicians who do this.
Right. And last thought, the antioxidant properties of Juice Plus is just one. It isn't the full story. Yes, vitamins, fruits and vegetables are antioxidants, but they're chock full, because we're just talking about food, of micronutrients that help support our body in many, many other ways. So it's not just that we're taking it as an antioxidant.
Correct.
Okay. Got a question here that says, allergist told me to use Flonase 2 sprays a day for 2 months for environmental allergies. Will it help my Graves' disease antibodies, TRAB and TSI, to go down, or will Flonase have negative impact?
I don't think that's ever been studied. So my supposition, knowing the physiology and chemistry of it all and what Flonase is, I would say it would have a advantageous impact to support. But certainly there should be many other things you're doing for your Graves' disease to calm your whole immune reactive system down. And that's what we do. So we're not trying to say we're endocrinologists or we're gynecologists or we're oncologists or cardiologists. We're coming alongside to get everything else moving in agreement with the healing that you need from your specialist, no matter what their specialty is or what your problem is. So most definitely, I think it would be advantageous. And I would see a integrative doctor, a doctor who is familiar with the gut healing, and we believe Graves' disease, like rheumatoid arthritis, is very much associated with a leaky gut and a inflamed, out of control, overexcited immune system, because 80% of your immune system lines this gut.
Okay. Will Flonase bring down inflammation?
Yes.
Yes. It's an antihistamine, right?
It's a steroid.
Okay. Elliot says, it might sound stupid, but is instant coffee bad for your health? I've heard some claims that instant coffee is not as bad as we think. At least I thought it was bad.
I have read so many articles on coffee, and you know that...
Because you're quite the coffee drinker.
I'm a big coffee drinker. And then the bulletproof coffee, that was a rage that started about 8 years ago, 10 years ago. So there's been a lot of research on coffee. And there are some people who are physiologically hypersensitive to the caffeine stimulation of it. I don't like decaf coffee because that's extra chemical processing that it goes through. So I think you're going to find as many articles that talk about enhanced mental acuity, preventing dementia, Alzheimer's, and focus, as you're going to see those who talk about the stimulatory sympathetic system potential damage. So I have nothing negative to say about coffee because I like it, and I've seen enough science that says it's good. But I do think that we should be cautious about excessive use. I think there's about 100 milligrams in every cup of coffee, 8-ounce cup of coffee. And I think if you're getting more than 400 to 600 milligrams of caffeine a day, that you're probably pushing it. But the Alzheimer's studies said 4 cups or more per day were associated with a prevention of dementia.
Right.
So I like it.
Coffee is a bean or a fruit, so it's a plant like any other plant that we eat, and then so there's the normal thoughts that come along with that as to what's my source. Is it is this a coffee bean that was raised in an organic farm? Did they try not to use chemicals?
Yeah.
So I do try to buy my coffee that is organic, and I also try to buy coffee that is single source or single origin, meaning a lot of times they blend beans together from all over the world, and who knows what got mixed in there. So I try to get organic, single source. Now, he did ask specifically about instant coffee, and I don't know if he means like the modern K-cups or if he means the freeze-dried instant coffee, but K-cups, of course, you got to think, are those plastics and the packaging leaching anything into my coffee? I do it in moderation, so I don't worry too much about it. Plus, I do chelation therapy to help. Instant coffee, I believe, is just regular coffee that has gone through like a freeze-drying process where they've removed the liquid from it. So really no concerns there, right?
Right.
Okay. I hope that helps, Elliot. Drink your coffee. But a lot of people put a lot of junk into their coffee.
Then that's another story.
Creamers, sweeteners.
And if you're using it as a fluid replacement, I mean, for every cup of coffee I drink, I force myself to drink a cup of water. So that's part of my control system.
Right. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so we were talking mostly about just good old-fashioned black coffee, right? But if you are going to put anything into your coffee, like a dairy, I would lean towards a raw dairy.
Yeah, whole cream.
Right.
You know, don't go for the skim milk because that's a lot of sugar.
Organic butter, raw butter.
MCT oil.
MCT oil, exactly. Okay, how are we doing? We're okay on time here. So Linda says, can you recommend a compounding pharmacy that will fill a prescription for ivermectin to be used as preventative care? Linda, I'm not sure what area you're in. Here in Southern California, in our area, there is a pharmacy down the street that's called, what is it? Healthcare Pharmacy. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
it's
on
right
Newport
here,
Avenue,
right here in Tustin. And they're supplying ivermectin. I know for whatever reason, our kind of go-to compounding pharmacy, Harbor Compounding, is not doing ivermectin. But you just have to kind of call around. If you're not in this area, I would just Google compounding pharmacies near me, pick up the phone. You can ask them just as a patient or a customer and say, hey, if a doctor sends you a prescription of ivermectin, will you fulfill that prescription? Is Tustin Community Pharmacy doing it?
I think he's doing it, but he only gives a 1 month supply at a time because he has some limitation. Yeah, Seaview Pharmacy down by Laguna Niguel is doing it.
You know, Dr. Mitchell even said that a lot of CVS's she's had success sending them, surprisingly.
Interesting. Yeah, you got to call first.
Right.
Well, I like supporting private enterprise. And I like these individual privately owned pharmacies rather than these big chains because they have given me nothing but grief.
Right. So again, if you're in the area, it's literally named Healthcare Pharmacy in Tustin.
On Newport Avenue.
Right. Okay, a question from EH says, hi, doctor, the Energy Core vitamins lists 4 capsules as the serving size, which provides some vitamins in excess of daily value. Does this dose need to be modified per a person's weight? What would it be 100 pounds and a 200-pound person? So the Energy Core, that is the nutrient that you and your doctors got together and created with a compounding supplier. So he's saying, as you look at the label here, you'll see amount per serving and percent of daily value. So just on this Immune Protect, we have a little bit of vitamin C in here, only 600 milligrams, but if you're looking at daily value, that is 667% of your daily value. Should we be concerned? Should we modify the dose?
Well, we designed TLC Energy Core as a generic kind of for everyone, whether you're a 100-pound woman or you're a 200-pound man. Of course, it makes sense to say that if you're a 200-pound man, maybe 5 a day or 6 a day would be helpful. That's what testing is all about. And so we've created like when a land survey wants to build a building or a road, they set down an azimuth, and they shoot and they plan. So we set down TLC Energy Core as our thing upon which we build when we test the patient. Are these meeting your needs? So that's part of seeing your doctor and looking at it.
Right.
Yeah, so again, it's a great product.
It is, regardless if you're 100 pounds or 200 pounds. And this was created after many, many years of experience with our doctors taking several therapies, several vitamins, and putting them together into one. So all of the doses in there were sort of a baseline daily value based on our experience, not based on what whoever creates these daily value recommendations.
Yeah, the minimum daily requirements are basically just a group of men that put this together in the 50s, then reassessed it in the 90s, and then about every 5 years the group gets together on this, and they are usually referring to what level does it take to prevent the expression of disease.
A major malnutrition.
Right. So these are numbers to prevent expression of disease. So then in our experience and over time, we have generated our values to be not only that, but to move toward productive health.
Right.
Optimal health.
Right. Based on peer-reviewed research or our clinical experience. So this is what I have in my hand, the Immune Protect, but when you decided to put 25 milligrams of zinc in here, although that is 227% of this daily value according to this group of people, this is based off of our experience with dealing with viruses and papers and research that are out there showing that if I take 25 milligrams of zinc a day, my outcome is better than placebo.
Right.
And all of are taking too much. There's many water soluble, not fat soluble things in there.
Right.
Okay. Hope that answers your question, EH. Linda says, please share the name of the systemic enzymes you recommend.
Well, we use Proteozyme, Vascuzyme, and Vitalzyme.
Right. Proteozyme, Vascuzyme, and Vitalzyme.
Yeah. And I personally use Vitalzyme, and this is in Japan a prescription item, and it is very high potency. I worked with the company called Orthomolecular, who I greatly respect their moral fiber and their ethics in doing their work. We've flown out there twice, Talon, and we've looked it over. Yeah. And they upgraded Vascuzyme to include the serrapeptase, so that we were able to make it competitive with Vitalzyme at a much reduced price.
Right.
And then Proteozyme.
Yeah, Vascuzyme has got everything that Vitalzyme has in it. And that key ingredient that we really look for is serrapeptase, which is just a great systemic enzyme.
And that prevents microclots. So all the people concerned about vaccinations and microclots or shedding exposure, you need to be on your systemic enzymes every day on an empty stomach with plenty of water. That'll protect you.
Not to be confused with digestive enzymes that you're going to take when you eat, that
when
are
you
much
eat food.
cheaper.
Right.
Systemic enzymes you're going to take on an empty stomach. And so what's the difference between Vascuzyme and Vitalzyme? Well, Vitalzyme is the one that's been around the longest. That's the one from Japan that is in a special kind of capsulation that has been shown over many, many years of research to be effective. But if I'm being cost conscious, I'm going to go with Vascuzyme. It has all the ingredients in it, the enteric coating that's going to survive the gut. So. And
it's an equal dosing. The same dose of Vitalzyme I give for the same dosing of Vascuzyme.
Right.
I don't use Proteozyme that much. I'm not
that's
against
a
it.
Project.
Yeah.
Okay. Estrella says, my aunt has COVID for 1.5 weeks now, had 4 infusions of remdesivir and not helping. Is hospitalized on a step-down unit. Next step is ventilator. Is ivermectin too late? Her daughter has ivermectin.
There are studies. If you go to the American Association of Physician and Surgeons, AAPS.com, or you go to the FLCCC.net, you'll see many reports that ivermectin was valuable even preventatively, early, outpatient management, and inpatient management made the difference. So there are enough articles out there and experience. So I would definitely recommend it.
Okay. Next question comes to us from EH, and he says, also is a consideration if taken with other supplements like D-hysteroenzymes. So that's going back to his question about the
TLC
energy core, and if I'm putting these things together, am I getting too much? No, energy core is really a foundational multi that we created for our patients. So adding on to that, there isn't any concern with things like DHIST or enzymes, which are completely different, and there's no overlap of therapies in there.
I guess we'll have to end.
Yes, we are just about out of time.
Patience.
Okay. Well, folks, we are just about out of time. Dr. Althorpe does have a patient coming in very soon, so we're going to make note of any questions in the chat that we did not have time for today. So no fear, your questions will be answered. Dr. E is going to be back here next Monday at 6 p.m. And that's an even longer show, so there'll be more time to get into these questions. I did have 2 questions that were emailed that we didn't have time to answer, but yeah. So we'll make sure that these are followed up with on Monday. Okay. Well, everybody, I want to thank you so much for participating. Sorry we didn't have time to get at all the questions, but I love them coming in. I hope this is helpful to you. And again, hit that like button if you found this video valuable. And we will be back here on Monday. Any closing thoughts or comments?
God bless.
God bless everybody. Be well. We'll see you next week.
Good.